We're talking all about tech coaches.
Yes.
We're talking about things that we like to do. But the question really is, what do tech coaches do?
The million-dollar question.
You've been a tech coach. We've got some tech coaches coming up here. I want to bring on John and Adam and Kate. How are you guys today? Welcome to Tech Coach Live.
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
It is so great to see you guys. Let's kind of go around the room here. Tell us a little bit about yourself. John, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
My name is John Pauls. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. I'm an NCCE professional learning specialist, and I'm also an instructional technologist for Duval County Public Schools here in Jacksonville. So our team provides support to our district of 8,000 teachers regarding instructional technology in the classroom.
And how many of those buildings are you responsible for? Are you in, you said?
Well, there's 7 of us, and we're responsible for 130 plus buildings. So it's a lot.
Wow. Okay. So you're on the right topic right now. That's a good thing. Adam, Catherine, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you guys from?
So we are in Central California. My name is Catherine Goyette, and I am an Edtech coach for a county office. So we serve over 40 districts, over 200 schools, and do a lot of supporting teachers, especially with distance learning right now. There's a big need for what we do. So Adam, how about you?
Yeah, I'm Adam Juarez. I'm a tech integration coach for grade 6-12 for Cutler Rossi Joint Unified School District out here in rural Central California. Yeah, my job is, I've never been busier. All of a sudden, my skill set is very much valued, but, it's just, this had to happen, but you know what, I'll take it. And, my job is to train teachers and students on all things EdTech and try to lead with learning first.
So we recently talked a little bit about this topic on our podcast over at Ask the Tech Coach. And I love the fact that we now have a full panel here with completely different ideas for what their thing is. I mean, look, I'll keep saying it. I've said it once. I've said it 1,000 times. If you get 10 tech coaches in a room, you have 25 job descriptions. We are all doing different things. So, Adam, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. If somebody comes up to you and says, what does a tech coach do? What's the answer? What does a tech coach do?
You know what? Tech coach wears many hats. But as we are stating in our upcoming book, we lead with learning. We never start with the technology first. I think that's a misconception of tech coaches, that, we're all about the technology. For us, I want to know what the teachers are supporting, what's your learning target, what's your learning goal, and I'm going to tailor make and provide some advice on technology that's going to help you best achieve that learning goal while you're engaging with the 4 C's while we do it.
I just want to acknowledge something here in our chat, because by the way, everybody out there who's listening, number one, thank you guys for joining us. Please let us know what you guys do. But Jared brings this up here. I think this is the definition of a tech coach. Other than coaching, I also do digital signage, school news show, the videographer. Does this sound like your jobs, guys?
Yeah, well, let's not forget managing the Google Apps domain. That's a huge burden. But
and making sure the Chromebooks work and stuff like that, right?
Right.
Catherine, what's the most exciting thing about your position? Like, what do you love doing? How do you love doing it? Talk to us a little bit about what excites you about being a coach.
What I love the most is working with teachers to impact students. So being with the teachers in classrooms, which I know that where we're at, everything's now virtual. It's 100% online, virtual classrooms, but that still is something that I want to see the students. I want to see the teacher's face when the students are able to engage in a new way with technology. And so even if that means I drop into this virtual classroom after we've planned something and they try something, when I see the teachers, the kids for sure, but it's watching the teacher's face when they see, oh, wow, this really worked with my kids. It's really connected with them. That's what I love the most, is seeing that impact.
And I've missed that, right? Since March, I've missed that interaction. I've missed that impact. I've missed working with teachers and students and principals. John, you manage a lot of students, don't you? Talk to us a little bit about What excites you about doing this position?
So I was actually in the classroom before I transitioned, and I specialized in educating students with autism. My son has autism, so my background is in the special needs realm, and I've studied instructional design technology at a collegiate level. And what I've discovered is there are lots of things out there that people can use, and we kind of just throw it at things, and we don't really think too much about the best use. And so what I love is, one, exposing teachers to new tools that they didn't know existed, but I do it in a strategic way. So if I know a teacher is serving a child with a vision impairment, then I can bring up the Ease of Access Center in Microsoft and say, did you know we can do X, Y, and Z? And so we always say, especially in our office, like, we can teach you the basics and we can teach you the fundamentals, and then we can give you some ideas about how you can implement it with the curriculum and with your students. But the magic for us is what the teachers do with that. For instance, we have a very large department for our special needs students, and our deaf, hard of hearing faculty actually used Flipgrid to create a virtual GridPal network across the state of Florida. So students get on there and actually sign and communicate with other students across the state that have either hearing loss or hearing impairment. And that's not always something they get in individual schools. And so showing teachers the tools and how they can use it, and then seeing where they take it, that's where our magic comes into play.
I love the word magic, don't you, Sue?
Oh, yes. That's what we create. That we aim to please.
How is this position changing for everybody post-COVID, pre-COVID? I mean, we went from person in the classroom to, oh my goodness, now we have to get through the rest of the school year. What are our roles? How does it work? Let's throw out the handbook and start over. Now we've had the summertime to really sit and go, what do we want this position to look like moving forward? We know we have classrooms with hybrid students. We know we have classrooms where it's just going to be a teacher speaking to all distance students. We know we're going to have a classroom where the teacher's at home and the kids are at home. How can we be effective this year? No pressure, but I'll start with, I'll start with John. How can we be effective when everything's changing?
So I think that you have to be, one, flexible and understanding that this current climate, we are taking teachers who may not have had the interest or the tools before it happened, and then literally in a couple of days' time, we are kind of throwing you into this new world. What I always tell our participants and our teachers, I say the reality is most of us are technology adopters, and our students are technology natives. And so we sometimes speak a language that is not resonating with our students. And I think we need to kind of stop teaching in a way that we are used to and start preparing students for the future, which is rich with technology. And the biggest struggle, I think, during the pandemic is trying to still give teachers this passion and this excitement, while this is also something that we have to do, right? So we're trying to make it where it's still enjoyable and still innovative and exciting, but we're kind of having to force feed a little bit. So we do a lot of just-in-time resources. We like to do instructional videos, 5 minutes max. Here's how you can do something. We do some PDF versions. We do online trainings. We have expanded our network outside of just Twitter onto Facebook, because the reality is a lot of teachers are on Facebook and not on Twitter just yet. And so we have to look at where are the teachers living, where are they communicating, and then we need to get the message out to them and make it as easy as possible for them to get the answers that they need.
So are you using Facebook as a professional development environment?
We actually decided to create just a technology innovation, that's our group, just a Facebook page, and teachers who are on Facebook can join. And then when we post our resources on Twitter, then we'll post them on Facebook. And it just adds another layer of support. So at this time, you can go to our SharePoint site, you can go to Twitter, you can go to Facebook, you can chat us in Teams, email. We want to make sure that no matter what your medium is for communication and getting knowledge, that there's support there for you, because we have to be there for all of these teachers and make sure that they have a good experience.
Adam, how about you guys?
You know what? I couldn't agree more with everything that John was saying. It brought me to just one of the things that I know I've been dealing with this week is district was scrambling, like, what do we do with substitutes? How are we going to train them? And I spent all my 1 week wrapping my head about how we're going to do that. So we came up with a plan, in a nutshell, where teachers are going to have to add subs to their Google Classrooms as students, and they're going to facilitate Zooms that way. And I was really, John was talking about how the kids today, they're the digital natives and teachers were the digital adopters. And I couldn't agree more with that. Just because the kids today don't know the world without the internet, and they're they're wired differently than we were. We remember the world without the internet, and so this is kind of forcing our hand to really kind of be empathetic and design learning experiences for this current generation. And I was training some subs yesterday, and this sub that was coming for some training, she was 82 years old, and for kindergarten. And you know what? I was like, okay, this is going to be a challenge, but she did not back down. She wanted to do it, and I was so I was so jazzed that, I held her hand the whole time, but she did it, and she wasn't afraid of it. And I'm like, I want to use this experience when I train other teachers. I go, here's this lady that obviously has so much life experience, teaching experience, and of all people, you think you would assume that they would want to I'm done with this, but she just dove head first into it. She made mistakes. She learned from her mistakes, and that, for me as a tech coach, that's such a win when I could help someone like that and see that they didn't give up. So I might have gone off topic a second, but for me that was a huge win yesterday.
I think the fact that as a tech coach or even as a school district, you're training substitutes, that's a win right there. Mm-hmm. We had this conversation the other day in our department meeting of all this stuff is great. And even once we get teachers going and digital, what happens when the substitute comes and they can't get into the Google Meet because they're not a member of the Google Classroom team? I don't know that answer. Hey, there's a podcast topic for us, Sue. But
there you go.
Adam, what is the answer? I mean, what is an answer for that? How do you handle substitutes in a world where Google Classroom needs a?
Well, pretty much because we're using Google and Zoom. They've set their hearts on Zoom. So, kind of our tentative plan right now is that the teachers will add. We have these sub accounts in our domain that subs will be assigned, and they're going to be added as students in the teachers' classrooms. And I train those subs to create Zoom links that they're going to post in the stream. And pretty much their goal is going to be, all right, that they're going to post saying, hey, I'm Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so, I'm your sub today. We're going to meet on Zoom at this time. And they're going to kind of, they're not going to teach a synchronous lesson, but they're going to take attendance and kind of explain the lesson plan the teacher left. That's kind of our early kind of plan right now. We're hopefully next week we'll probably see it come to fruition, but as we've been saying a lot lately, we're kind of building the airplane while we're in the air. So we're going to kind of wait and see and continue to iterate.
And you're building it while it's also being fixed on the other side of the plane, too.
Yeah, we're all going down that pathway, definitely.
We have a lot of tech coaches that are listening from around the world. So not everybody is in a COVID situation the way the United States is. But I think all of these tech coaches are still worried about what to do and how to do. I want to go around the room here. Could you give me one or two pieces of advice? Somebody who's looking to support digital virtual learning, what advice would you give other tech coaches out there to help them out? And I love everybody, by the way, who's doing I'm here to do coaching, but I'm also now the window washer, dishwasher. I'm doing all these other things to support. Catherine, let me start with you. What advice do you have out there? Look right into that camera and talk to the audience, because there's a lot of questions of how do we do this? What are we supposed to be thinking about? So that way we can be helpful to our districts this year.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is building those relationships with those you serve, getting to know them, because otherwise you're nowhere. You got to make sure that what the support you're providing is based on the context of their needs. And so, for example, especially right now, even if we are here in the United States, of course, COVID has caused a lot of school closures and stuff. But even those that are opening schools again, there's still a lot of anxiety amongst students, amongst teachers with this global pandemic. And so, for example, this week we had teachers just beginning school, and they were very anxious. They were very nervous. And so rather than coming in and saying, here's all the things you guys need to learn, it was more of an open, tell me how things are going. What are your questions? What is it that you need help with? And it was very freeing for them. Also, I want to go back to something that was said earlier about how teachers are the ones that, I think it was in the chat, that technology is a tool, but the teachers are the ones that actually are that make the difference and are important. And so, tell your teachers how much they're valued. That, I always tell them, you are going to teach. Your kids need to connect with you, not with Khan Academy, not with Bill Nye the Science Guy. Those are great. You could use those as tools, but they need to connect with you as a caring adult, as a caring teacher. So that's my big advice, is to acknowledge the teachers, tell them how much they're valued, and actually model that by allowing them to kind of lead the conversations.
That is an awesome point, Catherine. I met with all 4 of my elementary teaching staffs this week, and before I threw any new technology at them, any training, I made it a point to say that to them, because I hadn't seen them as a group since March, and they just smiled and lit up just like kids in a classroom when I told them how much of a rock star they were back in March, and how they, alleviated any panic, and they just did such a good job. So they love to hear that and be affirmed themselves. Great stuff.
Adam, no pressure, but what advice do you have to give? And you got to reference Bill Nye somewhere in there. That was points for Bill Nye reference.
You know what? For me, it's just making myself available on as many platforms as possible for the teachers I serve. Just knowing that you're there has been huge for the teachers. Like they'll thank me, like, man, you're always there. You reply to our emails quickly. So I'm available through email, through Google Meet, through instant message on Google Hangouts, through text message. So as many avenues they have to try to get a hold of me, that kind of puts their mind at ease, and knowing that I'm willing to give them a prompt response. I put out almost daily blogs that to the teachers, and it's always some kind of quick tip based on a question that someone had already asked me. So I created some kind of resource. So I blog about it, and everybody has it. So it's a living resource. So the more ways you can be available at this time, it really puts their mind at ease, and they tend to not be afraid just to try things. And and what that does now, when this kind of eventually goes away, hopefully, cross my fingers, they'll be much more apt to and hesitant to reach out going forward. So again, in a nutshell, be as available as you can.
I love that concept, Sue. Making sure that you are where the audience needs to be. And I love the fact that he says, I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Twitter, wherever people need to reach you, make sure that you're available to them.
Yes, very much.
John, how do you do that in your district? You've got 1 million different schools. You've got only 6 people. How do you make sure? I mean, do you have somebody just manning a help desk constantly? And how do you reach? How do you support?
So luckily, like I said, we've got 7 people in our instructional technology department, and we are all former teachers. And so we support with the platforms and integrating it in the classroom with the curriculum. But we also have a technology division, about 200 people who can man service desks and do infrastructure and all of the back end stuff that we don't get to. One of the big things the advice that I would give to EdTech coaches right now is a piece of advice that I got from my director, Kathy Hart. It's kind of our motto, is that we're always going to fail forward, right? Technology is always changing. Nothing is going to be the same tomorrow as it is today. And so we have to be able to model that calm flexibility and that grace for our teachers. A lot of these teachers, we're all facing horrible issues with the pandemic and so much stuff going on outside of our classrooms that we need to be understanding, and we need to have some patience. And I think the EdTech coaches out there need to realize that this is our time to really go out there and show the world what we are doing and what our teachers are doing. But it's tough, right? And so we need to make sure that we are flexible, that we are present for our teachers, that they know how to reach us. We give them the resources. We actually we've got several teams that we're using, but we actually created a team for the entire district to join if they wanted to regarding distance learning help. And we've got close to 3,000 members in there right now. And so they can reach out to our team. But what we love seeing is the collaboration between the teachers. So we can build those connections between the different teachers in the district. And we are always there to model and answer more technical stuff. But we have built a network of instructional technology specialists in our classrooms. And we are giving them the authority to help one another with those ideas because we do not have all the answers. And so if we can model that, then I think that's the goal.
And I love what Greg is mentioning in the chat. Administrators must accept this too, because everybody's under pressure right now for everything. We need to still give our teachers the ability, especially in this first month, fall forward. We are here to support you. No one's going to get this game right in the first month. And we're all in this game together here. And one of the ways that we can learn how to support each other is through our networks, is through the people that are around us. And I want to take a moment, Adam, to have you talk a bit about your shirt. You have a Q shirt on. Talk to us a little bit about the Q organization.
So Q out here in the West Coast is our ISTE affiliate. Q stands for Computer Using Educators. Joining Q was a watershed moment in my career. I joined it the second that I became a tech coach back in 2015, and it's connected me with some of the most innovative educators in the world. It goes on to kind of like feed my Edtech soul on a daily basis. Catherine and I are both board members of our local Q affiliate here in Central California, supporting teachers in the region. And, every year, we didn't get to do it this year, our big national Q conference in Palm Springs, where we have about 7,000 teachers every year show up to that. We didn't get to do it, but it's like our big reunion every year. We get to see everybody, and definitely missed out on that. But Q it's an amazing organization, and it's starting to spread a little bit more beyond the West Coast. I think that's pretty cool. But it's definitely, I know every region has their big organization, and if you're not there, join that organization. You're going to be connecting with people, and it's going to just continue to help you refine your craft over and over. So it's definitely something I recommend.
I certainly love the Q organization. I've done a lot of work with them over the years. I know you guys just recently went through a little reorganization. There's a new leader on top, isn't there?
Yeah. It's actually a good friend of ours, Joe Marquez. We're actually going to be on his podcast as soon as we're done here. Joe Marquez is a good friend of ours and an amazing educator, and we're really excited to see what he's going to bring as far as innovation to Q going forward. He's got some big shoes to fill with John Carippo, who's going back to the classroom. He's enjoying that now. But yeah, it's exciting times at Q.
Nice. And John, you also have a PLN. Talk to us a little bit about some of the stuff that you're doing with NCCE.
So I actually just recently joined NCCE. NCCE is a fantastic organization full of some amazing technology trainers that travel the country providing support to school districts. And I actually met some NCC individuals when I went to FETC in January, and they actually came and trained our school district in Minecraft. And so when they came down and we had a virtual training, I said, this is fantastic. This is what I do. They were so passionate. And so I recently joined them, and it is so amazing to see so many different educators providing support across the country, whether it is Google, Microsoft, whatever it is. NCCE has people there to provide support in whatever platform you're using, and they are so knowledgeable, and we work to make sure we are up to date with the latest updates and that we are just delivering really high quality instruction. So I encourage everybody to definitely go to ncce.org and check out what the offerings are, and to reach out on Twitter, because especially in a day and age where everybody's kind of looking for that support, NCCE has got it taken care of. You can reach out and find support and resources and training and development regarding really anything. So if you are a school district that is out there saying, I need help, I don't really know where to start, you need to check out NCCE and reach out and and just see what they can do for you, because I have been so inspired by these educators, and the type of training that they provide to people around the country is just phenomenal. It is top rate.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us here on Tech Coach Live. If you guys like this session, please leave it in the comments. Give them a thumbs up. Give them a hello. We are going to be here till 4 o'clock Eastern. We've got some great topics coming up. Next topic we're going to be talking about in a few minutes here is that whole idea of relationship building during our faculty meetings. Adam, Catherine, John, thank you so much for joining us. Please invite yourself on the Ask the Tech Coach podcast, and I hope you guys have a great week. And Adam, have a good podcast recording after this.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
You've been listening to the TeacherCast Educational Network, hosted by Jeff Bradbury. Please reach out to the show with all of your questions on Twitter @TeacherCast or online at www.teachercast.net. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. And please take a moment to write a review in the App Store.